Going live, you're live. Okay. Good morning, hello, or day, whenever you're watching this. Last week I had promised I would do this follow-up video, so here I am. Whether or not I will do the follow-up to the Decor video, excuse me, discussing the closets. Not sure. Sorry, I'm reading my notes, but that was, yeah, unrelated. Okay, here it is. Okay. Why couldn't I find the thing? Okay, so last time I was going into way more detail on the flow chart than I said I would. Pretty much got through the whole flow chart idea, but as I explained, I had watched videos from 4 different women maybe that I think were relevant-ish, and I had gone into some, but not all of that. Okay, and then I added 1 or 2 other ones. Now the closet thing, so we'll save that for after. But as I had said in the previous Decor video, I think instead of this series video, the minimalism thing, a lot of the things that they do with their closets just won't work with my closet, right? Okay, so I'm not going to obsess about, whether or not you should, go to where they want to shop and buy those items that they want to buy. There's plenty of videos like that you can likely find. Although there was one I was watching yesterday and I clicked out of it to watch something else. And now when I wanted to go back to it, I couldn't find it. Story of my life. But it was one of those ones where she was talking a lot at first. It says like 10 tips, but then they don't list them below. I promise, I think in the future, if I ever have a video that's like 10 tips, I'll list them below so you don't have to sit through 5 minutes of preamble before I get to the actual tips. So this time, though, I'm not going to list the tips because they're somebody else's tips. So if you're watching this video, it's because you want to hear her tips as read by me. And stop being bored with your wardrobe, I believe, is the concept here. So in your current wardrobe, here's your tips. Number 1, what are your 4 favorite pieces you always reach for? Now, I'm not saying you should follow these tips exactly. Again, men's clothing and women's clothing being slightly different. I mean, if you have 4 favorite pieces that like they might not be something that's appropriate for daily wear, like your prized hockey jersey, for example. You don't always reach for your prized hockey jersey because you're not always going to a hockey game. Or your Indiana Jones authentic felt fedora. You might have the real one that cost you a couple $100, and you don't wear that one when you go to a hiking or a casual event because you have the $50 version that works for that, whatever. But anyway, so but I'm these are again from another person's videos, and I'm putting my spin on it, and I'm trying to get to the point for those of you who actually watched the previous 2 videos, which is like 4 of you maybe. Anyway, all right. Are there recurrent patterns or themes, styles, colors, and fits? Well, obviously, we've talked about this in previous videos that you probably haven't watched about the capsule thing and all that. But today I'm wearing a solid shirt. I didn't bother to wear a tie because this one's a little smaller, button comfortably, but with a pattern hat. Do I have these recurring patterns? You bet I have these recurring patterns. I have a whole channel devoted to my recurring patterns, one of which is nautical with horizontal stripes, but in most men will find vertical stripes more flattering. A lot of guys like plaid, a lot of women don't. So if you're, not coordinating your plaids and your stripes correctly, they're going to notice that kind of thing. If, that's an aspect of how you're dressing. What looks good in the business world? Is this office casual? Maybe. Is this office casual? Definitely, etc. Okay. Is this business formal? On the verge because it doesn't have buttons here, pinning this down. But again, I would need a slightly larger collar, but this is not a fitted collar. It's off the rack. Therefore, I can't really wear this business formal because it's just too tight to be comfortable with a tie. Okay. So fit, color, green, not necessarily everybody's first go-to choice. I have a lot of stuff that's green. So I haven't bothered to make a list per se because I already know these things. Like I said in the last video, I think if you're already kind of stylish, you've already done a lot of this kind of work unconsciously without necessarily having to make lists all the time. But if you're trying to do an inventory and an assessment and a declutter and a blah, 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 then here you go. Next tip. For each favorite item, write down what you love about them and how they make you feel when wearing them. Okay, now, again, as I said in the previous video, when we were talking about the flow chart, if it fits your style and it fits your body and it fits your mood, why wouldn't you love wearing it? That, again, that seemed like kind of a question that answers itself without you having to really explain it to you. Of course, if you need 5 suits for work in a week, again, as I've said in the capsule wardrobe thing, it doesn't really necessarily matter if you love them or not. You need enough to get through the week. Start there and then work your way to your casual wardrobe. I think what's happening now is we're getting a lot more younger people who dress more casually all the time, and they just buy random stuff that doesn't fit into any office wear or other categories per se, besides just, I saw it and I liked it. Okay, and that's why they're feeling overwhelmed with all their extra clothes. Maybe or maybe not, you have that same issue. I don't know. But if you're in a minimalist and decluttering mood, then you must be somewhere on that journey, or you're just curious what they're all talking about and wondering what I'm talking about. I'm reading somebody else's thoughts, so whether or not you think I have any idea what I'm talking about, I guess is almost irrelevant at this point until we get to the summation or something. Okay. What silhouette shape do you generally feel the most confident wearing? If unsure, learn more about your specific body proportions. Again, women's clothes and men's clothes being slightly different. Obviously, with men's clothes, everything comes tapered now, as I've complained about that many, many times, that of course that doesn't fit most guys' contours, even if they aren't very overweight, because it's just restricting and therefore won't be comfortable. So if you've bought more than 5 of those things, obviously you can't let them out, but you can take in a shirt, but you can't let it out, right? So you're kind of stuck where that's concerned. So try them on, send them back. I don't know. Yes, declutter shirts if they don't fit, right? Look back on your old photos and your style over the years. This is also difficult because a lot of us doesn't necessarily have a lot of photos of casual outfits that we necessarily care as much about as like a formal outfit. Like, did I look good at that wedding? Yes. Well, then you know how to replicate that. Did I look terrible at that wedding? Then how do I fix that? Maybe you don't understand how to fix that just from looking at the photos per se, but compare a wedding photo to a casual photo and see what you should have done better at the wedding, maybe. Oh, I look way too casual because here in this photo where I'm at the barbecue and I feel fine in my flip-flops and my tank top. Like I said, a little common sense goes a long way. And if you're already kind of stylish, then you already know you looked pretty good at that wedding. Does anything stick out to you about your preferences? Like I said, well, if it's summer and you like being, comfortable, then obviously your preference will be more casual. This being a menswear channel, typically we're trying to elevate and try and figure out how to dress nicer even in warmer weather. So maybe your preferences aren't the best choices, right? That's kind of where I think you have to take a harder look than just, this is what I like, lifestyle assessment. Okay, so here's where she gets into what got into the flow chart, all that stuff, when she was wanting you to keep journals and things and whatever. What is your current lifestyle like? Again, being honest, is she having a business casual or other categories kind of thing, or is she just buying willy-nilly because she can, or feels like she can, until feels like I have a whole closet and nothing to wear? What are your daily activities and how do they impact the clothes you need to wear? Again, and the first woman, I had talked about this even more detail, I think, excuse me, before we got to the second woman who expanded on the same concept. How do they impact the clothes you need to wear? Okay, be honest with yourself. Do you think your current wardrobe matches your current lifestyle? Is there any part of your lifestyle or frequent activities that you often struggle to dress for? So that's what we're literally getting to the meat of what I was just saying a minute ago about whole closet and nothing to wear. So like I said, some of this video might be just redundant of some of the stuff from the previous video, but this was her summation, so I didn't want to leave it out. Even though like I said, we did the flow chart in great detail last time. So if you really, really want to check out the flow chart and you have 20 minutes, watch part B. Okay. Then the next thing is like find inspirational images and in a color palette. So this is when you're rebuilding after you've gotten rid of all the stuff that supposedly doesn't work. For me, again, personally, it was more of a case of wear the stuff anyway till it's no longer serviceable, unless you know you can sell it and get your money's worth. Donating a couple $1,000s worth of clothing just because, I mean, if you can afford it, fine. But I would say, plow through and try and use up most of the clothes that you still have, at least through that kind of hump until the next season comes along, when you're going to need certain things and you can replenish the ones you don't like or that don't fit with the things that will suit you better, pun intended. Your style is not solely defined by 3 words, but she wanted you to have, as a guideline, some descriptive adjectives. And, like I said, I refuse to kind of go along with this too far because, elegant, relaxed, etc. If we're trying to get an overall sense of what we're trying to dress for, but to just try and do that with like every single garment or whatever would be kind of ridiculous, because again, different seasons, different moods, different priorities or use cases, blah, blah, blah. So I wasn't going to go deeply analytical into, what does casual linen button shirt mean? It's a shirt, like, it's a nicer shirt than some other ones I have. That's, but again, not a shirt that I could use in every situation because I need a slightly larger collar. Define personal style character written with the 3 words. So you're supposed to take those 3 words that describe your style and use them in a paragraph. This isn't an English class. You don't have to do this for me to be thrilled. I don't have an opinion one way or the other. If you want to write about your personal wardrobe style, feel free. And declutter wardrobe and make a wish list and shop mindfully in the future to fill the gaps, which is what I just kind of already said. Okay. And again, there's plenty of other videos you can find that will go into that in more specific. So in the other video, I'm kind of trying to do these out of order, or in order, but they're out of order on the page. Let's see, this should review your style journey. When did I feel the most comfortable and the most authentic in my outfits? So that would go along with your paragraph, maybe. Then I was talking about this other woman who had done the 75-day challenge and gave up. And so focus on self, not comparison with others. Blah, blah, blah. Overall, I was finding that a lot of these women think they're, going to save the world by not buying these extra clothes, but those clothes will still be made even if you don't buy them. I don't see any necessarily reason to get into, you know, obsessing about that aspect of it one way or the other. And buying secondhand clothes maybe will make you feel a little bit better because you're, again, making those clothes last longer. Again, especially if you're trying to get over that hump to the next season, fine. But as I've said, when the older and bigger you get, the less stuff you find at a secondhand shop that's going to fit you or work as well as you'd like, because they usually have stains or they're too small or whatever. Curating a thoughtful wardrobe, is not a bad idea, but it's not necessarily something you'll be able to do on a shoestring budget every time, and with used stuff, blah, blah, blah. But anyway, this woman had done a no buy year, or a no buy month rather. They were talking about a no buy year, but she couldn't make it that long. And she was definitely not striving to be a minimalist like some of the other ones. She was kind of striving to adopt some of their principles to, help her not necessarily budget better, but collect less, I think. She was definitely leaning toward shopaholic tendencies, though, and her strategy for kind of solving that was to only shop on the weekends, I think it was, and that cut, or might be thinking of a different woman, but along those lines was, by minimizing the amount of days that they were allowed to browse and shop, it cut down on the amount of extra purchases they were making. But I think if you're a real shopaholic, you'll cram as many purchases into a Sunday as you want and not do anything else. So I don't know that that's a complete save-all, catch-all strategy. But the shopaholic dopamine, underlying syndrome thing, I think, now I forget who said what here, so I'm just reading if I wrote this or if she said this or what, but I think this is me commenting, men buy more staples and less seasonal things. I think that's very true. I know I shop seasonally. I intentionally seasonally. I think, again, stylish men do this already because they look forward to autumn. Yeah, I'm going to get to wear all my, pattern ties and the things that I had to lock in the drawer all summer, that kind of thing. Women's clothing works seasonally, but in a slightly different way because you have more sheer fabrics more often, whereas like you can't necessarily even tell this is a linen shirt by looking at it. It's a cotton blend, but apart from a little bit more wrinkling, like it still look, like I said, it still has buttons and a collar. It looks like a shirt, right? Does it breathe slightly better than the treated wrinkle-free ones? Yes. Does it look as nice if I was going to an office as a wrinkle-free one? Yeah, probably not. But again, not a shirt I would necessarily wear in December. So, it would be nice if I had like an all linen summer wardrobe and an all wool winter wardrobe, maybe, because most of these kind of people don't like cotton as a principle, on principle, or, but again, I live in California. Most of the year, cotton suits me fine. Okay. How hard was it really? What does this say? Accountability, buy less, wear more, right? Okay. So there's kind of bumper sticker slogans. Where was I most tempted? Oh, okay. How hard was it really to not buy items for a month? So these were questions she was asking herself based on the thing. and her summation, you know, and where was I the most tempted? Again, if you're a real shopaholic, it's going to be hard, and you're going to be tempted, and you're going to buy stuff that you may not need. Okay. What did I learn? Will I do it again? Meaning the challenge. And her answer, of course, was maybe every couple months, but in a modified form than the version that she got off the internet, which, again, I don't think she was trying for a strict minimalism thing anyway, either in the look or in the only owning, you know, 150 items or less or whatever. Again, that was a video that I saw where if you're going to say I should only own so many items, I would be glad if you would list them so that I could agree or disagree. No, I need more than 2 pairs of pants. Like, I just do. Okay. There's no getting around that. I'm not going to only wear the same 2 pairs of pants all year. I did that when I was younger. It was called 8th grade, you know. So 7 useful tips and set clear rules. Allow how many items? Again, so this other one would only allow 150 items. I would not find any useful video, again, that tells you how many items is the right number of items. I've been trying to answer that for over a year now, and nobody's commented or questioned. But again, as a man, do you need 7 to 10 pairs of pants? Most of the time, yes. Like, that's you know, and that's not counting necessarily denim pants or suit pants. You know, you might have to have separate categories of pants. Keep a journal. Another one who wants you to keep a journal. I don't think you need to keep a clothing journal, but if it makes you feel happy, go ahead. Let's see. It said, okay, then, these are her tips. So sorry, I'm not listing them correctly. The next tip is to unsubscribe from all the stuff that makes you want to buy new stuff. Personally, I'm not really subscribed to a lot of those channels, but I'm never going to stop watching those channels because I like to know what's current, what's out there. It doesn't mean I'm going to buy every single type of boot that I see on boot channels. Excuse me. Just because I watched a video about boots. Have I bought some extra pairs of boots that maybe I wouldn't have bought? Again, because I'm doing this channel? Yes. Because I'm buying some extra junk so that I can give you useful information. And not necessarily junk in the bad footwear category. You know what I mean? Okay. Can't read my own writing. Remind yourself why you started doing this, I guess. Okay. Find alternative activities to wear your clothes, I guess, or reward yourself after you've gone a month without buying anything, I guess by buying something. I'm not really sure. Tell someone that you need help and to help you with your shopping addiction. So if you're an extreme case or you think you might be an extreme case, impulse buys should be sent to a wish list and then spend more time planning rather than just grabbing random items. So again, back to the previous girl who shops willy-nilly. This woman being older and having children, I think, if memory serves, obviously buying less willy-nilly for her and trying not to buy willy-nilly for them. You know, yeah. Slightly different category of life. So, you know, where you are on that scale too, you know, factor that in. You know, if you're only buying for yourself, if you're not in a couple or a family or whatever, then you have maybe a little more leeway with the money than even what you want your look to be, if you have a specific look in mind. I think a lot of men, and I've said this before, that's kind of why I started this channel, don't have a real look in mind. And that's why they suffer when they try to, again, dress better for that wedding or whatever, because they don't quite know how to do it. but that's not what we're really trying to answer in this particular video. So sorry if you're like, give me the answer. Well, again, maybe in some of the earlier videos, you'll get a better sense of that. This is going on long, so, but I do want to talk about the closet thing still. And so we're already at that point, finally. Closet organizing. These are just a couple things. One, is your closet current, spacing the things out so you can see the things? Two, everything visible, which again, spacing the things out, having all your hangers uniform so that, you know, everything is, one of them, you know, easily identifiable so you can put the outfits together. Again, with menswear, it's a little bit different than women's wear. Does this t-shirt go with these jeans? Yes, all t-shirts go with almost all jeans. Like, it becomes a little less of a overthinking problem. Again, don't wear this with, you know, polka dots, right? Okay. Because I'm talking more about the wardrobe aspect of the closet here than the decor aspect of the closet. So when we get to organizing, first you've already done the declutter and then you're trying to put together the outfits, I guess. I don't know. Keep organizing easy. Fold vertically so you can see the things in your cupboards or whatever. I don't worry about that. Is second rule, fold versus hang. A lot of my stuff doesn't get hung up anymore. I used to be able to, when I was younger, I could hang up all my jeans. I wasn't that big. They didn't weigh that much. They didn't break the hangers. Now I don't hang up any pants unless it's part of a suit. I only hang up jackets and some shirts. I never hang up sweaters anymore because, of course, it ruins them. Section your closet, grouping. I don't really do this, but I do this by color, which again, I own a lot of green stuff and a lot of blue stuff, so it's actually pretty easy. I don't have a lot of black stuff. I do seasonally, so I take the stuff out of one closet and put it in another closet when winter comes and swap them. If you don't have a second closet to be able to do this and you have to put everything in storage bins, you'll hate me, but that's okay. You'll still have your stuff prioritized by what you are likely going to wear versus what's taking up space. And that's the whole point of this, is to organize so your closet's not overflowing and you can find your stuff without stress. Okay. So grouping, and then of course, we'll say about dirty versus not dirty. Okay, you shouldn't have any dirty clothes in your closet. Your dirty clothes should be in the washroom. Okay. If you don't have your washroom and you have to go to a laundromat, it should still be somewhere apart from your clothes so you're not accidentally grabbing dirty clothes. Okay. And then more frequently worn versus not worn. Again, this is where we get to the decluttering. The whole bit from the flow chart from the last video about, have I worn this in a year? Does it spark joy? All that kind of thing. Again, this is not stuff you should be answering at the same time you should be doing your closet. You should have already done this. Now, I don't necessarily think you should take everything out of the closet and put it on the bed and lay it all out and do it that way. I think you should do it in little bits at a time, again, over that course of a season. Makes a lot more sense. If you know you have like a 3-day weekend, like one that just happened, and you really, really, really want to spend that Sunday doing this kind of stuff, then okay, sure. Find the video with the strategy that suits you and follow that strategy. But otherwise, again, if you have a bit of common sense and you have a bit of style, you're already assessing this as you go. And then make it pretty. Obviously, we're not necessarily worried about pretty, but we do want to make it easy on ourselves to navigate. Okay, ship shape, right? That's a good motto. Is my room ship shape, right? Now, it doesn't have to be spotless like, you know, a military barracks or whatever. It's not going to be always possible, but then there was another video about wardrobe items, closet categories. I didn't go deep into this. I just wrote down what they had. Jeans and pants, shorts, short sleeve versus long sleeve, shirts, jacket and sport coats and blazers, kind of all in a category together, which is not necessarily entirely true, but Sweaters, coats. Again, these are women's lists. So this one I found most closely resembled menswear. And then accessories. Women's accessories was mostly jewelry, but for men, I left scarves, ties, and then they had bags, which I guess you might have a backpack or some other kind of bag, but we don't carry handbags. Then in undies, they had listed not just underwear, but sportswear, pajamas, swimwear, and then they had a separate category for different kinds of swimwear, which, again, as men, we don't have. Typically, we have board shorts or normal shorts, right? Cargo shorts versus running shorts, I guess. Then shoes and boots. And then they wanted you to make 3 piles, yes, no, and maybe. One for love, one for hate, and one for you like, but you don't know. Again, I don't say get rid of all the maybes. If they still fit, if they're still usable, if you need, just casual clothes to get you over the hump to the next season, that's where you should really be focusing on your maybe pile. Other people will say get rid of the maybe pile entirely and only wear the clothes you love. I've already said many times in many videos why that's not always realistic. Okay. And again, it depends on what kind of job you do and how active you are in outdoorsy stuff. That stuff gets beat up, worn out, stained, ruined. Are you a mechanic? If you're a mechanic, wear your maybe pile a lot. That's your go-to pile to do cars stuff in. But don't wear your maybe pile to the store. Don't wear your maybe pile on a date. Don't wear your maybe pile to that wedding. Okay. So really simple. That anybody who's actually going to make it this far in a video, I doubt it. Okay. Common colors, patterns, metals, buttons, menswear, not really the same thing. 3 or 5 of your most favorite things, and also designers, fits, shades, other brands being, again, a big one that I keep coming back to, that I've talked about many times in the previous videos, and your comfort level, and you get supposedly adding these factors together, your ideal wardrobe. So yes, hopefully someday we'll all reach clothing nirvana and not have to make these videos anymore. So yeah, it went a little long, but I think I covered almost everything. So once again, if you have any questions, feel free to put them in the comments, and see you real soon in the next one, whatever that might be.